can now move to the LDC meeting. I'll open that packet. Okay, Jasmine, could you take a roll call for the attendance?
Tim Dean,
Here.
Mark Doyle,
Yeah.
Kathy Bauer,
Here.
James Bacone,
Here.
Don Sagliano,
Here.
Al Torjani.
Okay. First order of business is the discussion of the conflict of interest disclosures. And I would like to report that I do have a conflict with Nuvance, a matter that's coming up under unfinished business. I serve on as the chair of the board of directors of Vassar Hospital and also on a Nuvance committee. So when that subject comes up, I will recuse myself and Mark Doyle will take over running the meeting. So is there any other conflict of interest? Okay, let us know if anytime during the meeting there is something that comes up. We have some minutes from the June 24th, 2020 meeting. Does anybody have any changes or corrections that need to be made? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Don. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, Jasmine, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Tim Dean,
Approve?
Mark Doyle,
Approve.
Kathy Bauer,
Approve.
Jamie Bacone,
Approve.
Don Sagliano.
Approved.
Okay, thank you, everybody. All right, and again, once again, Sarah, I believe there will not be a report of the treasurer at this meeting. Is that correct?
Correct. And Tim?
Okay. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Sarah. I'm sorry, I was like shuffling papers around. So proof of meeting notice?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I skipped that.
Yeah.
Was it filed?
Yes, so proof of the meeting notice was posted on July 2nd.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I skipped that. So we do not have a report of treasurer, correct?
Correct.
At this meeting. Any reports of committees?
No reports.
Okay, so we move very quickly to the topic for which I have a conflict, and I believe we'll just skip that for a quick second. Sarah, is there any other new business that's going to come up other than the Nuvance old issue?
So I have no new business.
Okay, so what I'm going to suggest then is, Mark, I'm going to disconnect from the meeting, and I'll let you handle the Nuvance, and then you can adjourn the meeting after that, because there'll be no other discussions, and that way people won't have to reconnect me in after the Nuvance discussion.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and Mark, it's all yours, and I will disconnect.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tim. Very good. Sarah and Jasmine, do we have the Nuvance representatives online?
Yes, we have David Cates and I believe Steve Rosenberg. I think you're coming in as 025098. Are you wearing a pink sweater? Yes. Okay. So we're gonna unmute you in a second. So we have So we have David Cates representing from Chapman and Cutler, the attorneys of Nuvance, and then Steve Rosenberg, who is the CFO of Nuvance, here this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to meet all of you. This is Steve Rosenberg.
Good morning. I'm Mark Doyle, Vice Chair, and I don't know if the others would like to introduce themselves.
I guess not.
Thank you for joining us this morning and taking the time to help us with this discussion. I think Sarah, unless you and Don have wanted to start the ball rolling, we could ask Steve to make his presentation.
Yep. I don't know if Don, would you, did you want to say a few words before they start?
Yeah. Yeah, this is before the board on the question of a letter that Nuvance has asked Sarah to sign. We've negotiated some of the language there to make it clear that you know, there's a limit to this, but under the terms of the loan agreement between between Nuvance and the LDC, there was a requirement that there be an audit filed by the end of February of 2020, and that was not done. There were some issues when HealthQuest joined the Western Connecticut Health Network to create Nuvance. And as they were trying to bring the financial statements together and reviewing them, some discrepancies came up, and I'll let Mr. Rosenberg perhaps discuss that. But all of the disclosure requirements were met, but there's a provision that said that they had to file an audit. Well, the audit has been delayed because of the discrepancies that they found and the mere fact that they were trying to join these two entities with different fiscal years. So they've asked us to sign a letter saying, well, we're not going to declare a default on that basis. And we said, well, you said that you would have the audit done, your projection is you'd have it by August. So come back to us at the September 9th meeting and let us know. But in the meantime, you can sign the letter that you're not going to declare a default in the interim. And declaring a default would be an extreme matter, and it would also require that that this board make a determination that that they're not using, that Nuvance is not using diligent efforts to prosecute this to completion. And while it says that that it's the sole discretion of the LDC to make that determination, you are a public entity, and I think you are bound by rules that you can't be arbitrary in making such a determination. So on that basis, you know, we didn't feel there was an issue, but there are some questions that the board had about that. And so I think it's up to Mr. Rosenberg to explain to the board what is going on and make the board feel comfortable that they are prosecuting this to a completion so that they can file the audit, even if it's a little bit late. So.
And Don, this is David Cates. If I could maybe just clarify one thing with Chapman and Cutler representing Nuvance. You know, while it is a technical violation of a covenant within the loan agreement, it's actually not an event of default as long as Nuvance is diligently pursuing the delivery of the audit, which they are doing, as Steve will let you know. So while there's a covenant violation, we're within a grace period under the loan agreement, so there is no event of default. And the letter that Nuvance is asked to sign is just an acknowledgement so that they have something for their files with their auditors with regard to the fact that there is not an event of default at this point in time. And that's really just an acknowledgement. You're correct in all the determinations that the LDC needs to make, but I just wanted to at least clarify that we don't have a default at this point in time.
Yeah, that's well stated. I agree with that.
So thank you for inviting us, and thank you for the time. I can assure you that we are working more than diligently on trying to close our audit for fiscal year 19. The issue we ran into is, as we began to close our fiscal year 19 financial statements for Nuvance as a merged entity for the first time, Legacy HealthQuest and Legacy Western Connecticut merged on April 1st, 2019. So as we began to look at the numbers, my team recognized that there was a pretty significant variance in the accounts receivable and the revenue recognition over the past couple of years. some portion of it clearly created by the fact that HealthQuest went live on a new revenue cycle system back in 2017. But the size of the number was pretty significant. We found that the receivables were overstated by $75 million. We traced the variance and the year it actually belonged back to 2018, which created complications. So we can't close the 2019 audit until we close 2018. We had to go back to the legacy audit firm for HealthQuest, which is RSM. We presented the case that we think there was an error in the audited financial statements, a pretty significant one. They first argued that it was just a change in estimate, but after seeing all the information we presented to them on how we came to our conclusions, they recognized that there was an error in the 18 financial statements. So we brought them back in, and they are currently working with my management team to go back and restate 2018. And once we get that done, that obviously creates the beginning balances for our fiscal year 19 balance sheet and financial statements. So our challenge has been, again, if that had not happened, we would have been closed a long time ago, but that's really created some significant complications. So my anticipation is we will have everything closed by the end of August. And again, just to make sure there's no confusion with our bondholders, with the rating agencies, who I have spent a lot of time trying to explain the situation, we are asking for you to sign this letter. We are working more than diligently on closing this. I assure you I have a finance committee and an audit committee in the board that is not happy that we're not closed. So we are pushing to get this done, but I wanted to explain the situation that gave rise to the delay. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Oh, thank you very much. Does anybody on the board have questions?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Thank you, Acting Chairman Doyle. Don Stagliano. Mr. Rosenberg, you mentioned that there's a $75 million overstatement in the accounts receivable. What portion of the annual revenue does that represent?
So it depends on whether you're looking at the annual revenue of the legacy.
Under fairly accepted financial, under GAAP.
Yeah, so again, if we're looking at Legacy HealthQuest as a standalone entity prior to the merger, so we're about a $2.5 billion organization now combined. Before that, we were both about $1.2 billion to $1.3 billion. So as a percentage, you know, it's about 7%. I mean, it's pretty significant.
So that would be a material overstatement in conformity with GAAP. Has your organization, Nuvance or HealthQuest, have they taken any action about the predecessor auditors with regards to their not discovering this error and characterizing it as a overstatement or a misrepresentation of a estimated receivable?
So we have certainly, you know, reviewed the potential of going back and suing RSM for that. As we actually did a forensic review of some of the previous management team at HealthQuest, as you probably know, the CEO and the CFO are no longer with our organization. We believe that the issue was more with management than it was with the audit firm. I don't believe that RSM was presented with all the appropriate information in order to make the determination. And we also felt that it was in our best interest to get this restated and closed as opposed to ending up in a prolonged litigation. And if that happened, our auditor now for Nuvance is Ernst & Young. They would not have been able to provide an opinion on 1819, and it would have sort of spiraled out of control. But we clearly had a big discussion about that because there were a lot of upset, you know, audit committee members about the RSM audit. So that's a great question. Thank you.
And just one further question, Acting Chairman Doyle, if I could. Mr. Rosenberg, do you see any reason why, from any indication, as they're diligently doing the work, why the Nuvance, is it Nuvance? Is that the actual correct name of the new? Okay.
Yes.
I see the billboard every day when I come to work. So anyway, is there any reason why you wouldn't anticipate receiving a clean auditor's opinion from Ernst & Young once they complete their work?
There is none.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Don. This is Mark Doyle. Is there anybody else with a question? Good. So I'm anxious to just understand this again and maybe make sure that I heard it correctly, that Don Capolino, that there has not been an actual default. We have not crossed the default threshold, and nor up to this point. But going forward to September, do we reach that threshold? Is there an actual instance in which what is the point where we reach that threshold?
Well, I think as Mr. Cates made clear, there is a breach of the covenant, but you would have to declare an event of default if, as a board, you determine that they were not proceeding diligently to try to meet that covenant and to file that report. So they've said that they will. They're working diligently to get it done by the end of August. And we have a meeting coming up on the 9th of September. So the thought was to be able to sign this letter saying that, as of now, there's no event of default. You're not making a final determination on that. But again, I think that if they're showing you that they've made this kind of effort so far, and you're satisfied with that, you can push it out to September 9th. And hopefully by September 9th, they will tell you they filed the report and you have nothing more to be concerned about. If they haven't, then maybe they'd be kind enough to return and explain why they haven't done it at the meeting on September 9th. They can come and make a further explanation. That's it.
Right. Thank you. So, and the letter asks us to acknowledge that that we push this off until at least September 9th. So I feel like there should be some, I'm personally very comfortable with, the amount of diligence and postponement of any type of decision, obviously, because they are moving in the right direction. Clearly, it's in everybody's interest to do so, but not to leave a wide open window. So, do we need to have a date? We can always extend from that date, but it seems like there should be, September 9th, or a month later, for that matter, just to have a fixed date.
Well, again, I don't know that, they may come in and tell us on September 9th that they need another 2 months because they found certain other discrepancies and they disclosed to us exactly where they are. So I don't know that you're in a position to give that, to bind yourself in the future. Here, we're just saying we're pushing this out to September 9th. You'll review it again. You're not making any commitment one way or the other from September 9th after that. You can do whatever you choose to do. This just leaves it open. But this takes care of what they need to do to give to their, to their auditors so that they complete what they have to do.
Right, so that we review the situation again on September 9th.
Right, right.
All right.
So now you're looking for a motion to authorize Sarah to sign this letter as presented.
Is there any further discussion from the board and comments? And if not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to authorize Executive Director to sign the letter as presented.
Thank you. That's Don Sagliano.
I'll
And
second that motion.
thank you, Jamie. And may I ask for a call? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, this is Sarah. Mark, would you like Jasmine to do a roll call vote?
Oh, yes, please, Jasmine. Sorry about that.
Mark Doyle,
Yes, approve.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Jamie Pacone,
Approved.
Don Sagliano.
In favor?
Right. So, and any opposed? No, they're not, because we're all, sorry, all in favor, and the motion passes. Steve and David, thank you very much for your time this morning. And we hope that everything proceeds as well as it can from this point.
Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to meeting you in person someday. Have a good day.
We hope so too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark.
All right.
Um,
Sarah, are you
Yes,
there? Do
yes,
we-
yes.
do
So
we
Mark,
have any
this
more business? I don't think we do, but
yeah, so this is Sarah. No, we have no more new business to review.
so I'd like to call for adjournment if somebody make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Jamie, thank you.
This is Kathy. I second.
Thank you. I don't think we need a roll call for that.
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See everyone in September.
Yep. Have a good day.
All right. Have a
Thank
You
good
so
too.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.